Light snow continues to fall here in the eastern Ore Mountains outside of the city of Dresden. We're in Altenberg for stop number 5 of the FIL Luge. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to coverage of women's doubles, where the rich keep getting richer. Degenhardt and Rosenthal in 3rd place in the World Cup standings. The Germans are in 3rd place after one run here. Meantime, the United States, Siobhan Forgan, Sophia Kirkby, they're in 2nd in the points race this year, and they're also in 2nd place here in the Altenberg World Cup. But it's the team leading the World Cup and coming off of 3 consecutive race victories that are primed for the 4-peat here from Austria, Egla and Kipp. Zelina and Laura have won just about not every race, but every individual run this year. That's how dominating they've been. Light snow, as I said, it's expected to taper off throughout the afternoon. The sun may even peek out, but it will remain cool enough all weekend long, in fact, to have very good races. Right now, as we take a closer look at the technical data and get the track ready for run number 2, I'm pleased to introduce from Team Austria our co-commentator providing analysis for today's women's doubles. It's Lisa Schulte. And Lisa, welcome back. I've got a quick question for you. You're the World Cup leader and you're the World Championship. So how do they decide which bib you're going to wear in tomorrow's race?
The problem is that I have to decide which bib I'm gonna wear, and I'm not sure which one I'm gonna take for tomorrow's race. But I'm probably gonna take the World Cup leader because it's my first time ever leading the World Cup, and I'm not sure for how long I can keep it because I'm just 1 point before Julia.
It's a nice decision to make as we take, again, a closer look at this track where the problems start early, the challenges, I should say, and then they make their way all the way down. I'm not sure there's any other track in the world where there are so many questions asked of the athletes from top to bottom. There's no break, is there?
Not really. It's a tough track. From double starts, it's already starting with curve 9. Which is really tricky for the athletes. We've seen a lot of really good athletes struggle there today, hitting the walls out of this curve right here on the straightaway before Kreisel, where you can lose a lot of time. And then going into Kreisel, where we can see the red flag again right here, before going into 11 and 12, which can also be tricky if you are too high in 11. And then 13, 14, it's a nice combination of curves before the straightaway where you get really light and you shouldn't move too much there on the sled. And then going into the finish curves of 16 and 17.
Track record was not challenged in any way in run number 1. 15 sleds made it down, all of them with the runners still on the ice, but it was not without its adventure along the way. As we check out run number 2, it's a team that has won the World Cup overall title the past 2 seasons that are currently in last place in run number 1, Vetter and Oberhofer. So Andy and Marion, they've been sick, fighting illnesses this week, but now they'll be fighting their way to move up maybe 1 or 2 positions. Meantime, there's the race for the podium here at the bottom of page number 2. Certainly the Latvians could challenge Germany and USA for those podium positions. However, the Austrians have a pretty safe lead as they look for their 4th win in a row. How do you like these spectators here in Altenberg? How do they compare to the Luge fans around the world for you, Lisa?
Oh, it's always great to have people at the track. I think today with the weather, thank you to those people on the track cheering, because I wouldn't want to stand outside there all day. It's really cold and windy, as you can see here. But it's great to have spectators at the races cheering you on.
Run number 2 now. 4th place last year at the World Championships, and then a victory in the World Cup. That's right, we had back-to-back races here in Altenberg last year. This is the Italians, Andi Vetter and Marion Oberhofer. And their start was fast in run number 1. That's not uncommon for these two. But then problems started where? It was out of 9?
It was out of 9. They really hit the wall, I think, 4 times and just lost all the speed there. So let's hope they can do a better run right now.
Again, with a solid run here, they could move up 1 spot. They could conceivably move up 2, 3, or 4, but they should move up at least 1.
It was again really high at the end of 9 and they hit the wall again. So it's not their race today.
No, it's just so unfortunate. And then you have to make your way the rest of the way down. They know they will not compete tomorrow in team relay unless there's some coach's decision that puts them back into it.
Yes, it's really sad for them, even though the rest of the run is fine, but with all the speed lost up there, you can't make any good of it right now.
43.969, that was about 4,500s better than their first run, but the exact same troubles at the exact same spot.
Yes.
Yeah, this I have not seen Andy this disappointed in a couple of years.
No, because usually they have been really consistent at the races and always putting on a good performance, but I think they've just struggled with 9 so much. It's, yeah, really taking out all of the speed right here with these walls.
Yes, no more words need to be spoken.
Team Ukraine, please prepare you the next.
That's a great look at the focus on the eyes of Alina Shtechkip. Team Ukraine, Alexandra Molk, her teammate. They've been partners in women's doubles for 3 seasons on the World Cup now. 10 years separate them. Alina, Alexandra 20. They come off of a memorable weekend in Sigulda where Ukraine captured its first ever team relay medal, a bronze. And that was simply by having clean runs. They didn't have to be fast, they just needed to be clean in Sigulda.
That's true, but they had a bit of struggle at the start right now and some insecurities out of 9, but it was better than the run before. Now into 11. It's a solid run so far.
Like the Italians that went before them, they're having pretty much a mirror image, carbon copy of their first run with really good lines down below, Shtechkip and Molk. And good sportsmanship for the Italians to even make their way in the leader box because, Lisa, I think they would like to just hop in their car and head back to Miransen.
Yes, which is totally understandable after a race like this. Here you can see at the start, with the pedals, they kind of make the sled go in the wrong direction, and now she has to pre-steer pretty hard and still too early into the start curve, which makes you losing some time there.
Posing for the camera, it'll be fun to see Ukraine tomorrow again in the team relay. They've been there every week. And now Team Romania. And when Raluca Stramatraru began the sport of luge, it was the 20th century, 1999. What were you doing in 1999, Lisa?
I wasn't even born then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You were thinking about becoming a luger,
yeah,
but you weren't quite ready to do it yet. Straru and Manalescu, 12th place after run number 1, 13th, check that.
A lot of height in the end of 9, but they did a good job there. Again, a bit of a looping Kreisel like the first run, but a good exit. And it's a solid run. Oh, that was a bit too early before 13. They hit like a little bump there. Oh, and again before 15.
Now the feet are down, head is up. Luca Stramatraru. Mihaela Manolescu skidding across the finish, 43.686. This is a two-run combined time competition, so that time is 127.124. And Lisa, you know, like Ukraine last week in Sigulda, Romania had a memorable World Cup in team relay here in Altenberg last year.
Yes, they did. They were also third on the podium last year. I remember because when we came to the finish, they celebrated because they were on the podium because we couldn't make it there. And they just put together good runs last year for the team rally, which not a lot of people could do, which is great.
They also had the advantage of going very early on a very warm day. Now, Poland, Nikola Domowicz, Dominika Piwkowska. I think I'm going to try that again, Piwkowska. Some of the Eastern European names are tough to pronounce for any of us, aren't they, Lisa?
Yes, because, yeah, I wouldn't know how to pronounce this as well. I might have to ask her what's the right pronunciation.
Polish flags are flying on our YouTube chat. Thanks so much, everyone, for waking up and watching, sharing in our live coverage all season long on the World Cup. Little rough, but staying off the walls here between 9 and Kreisel.
Yes, they didn't hit the wall, but it still costs speed if you don't make it like straight out of 9. But they're doing a good job out of Kreisel and through 11, 12. Looks like a solid run right here. And I think that's where a skid.
Right, and they have the lead. They've been in the top 10 in every race so far this season. Granted, the fields were a little smaller in some of those races, so they'll have to fight to stay in the top 10 here.
There was a really nice line right here.
Canada back on the circuit this year after missing Sigulda, and back with a performance by a young doubles team, Podolski and Allen. 11th place after run number 1.
Yep.
Got to believe that they skipped the Sigulda race to get some extra time on the Whistler track.
Yes, they did, to prepare for the World Champions this year.
That's the beauty of hosting a World Championship, is you get much more practice time than the other nations. Although you wouldn't have known it last year, you would have thought Altenberg had the practice. Oh, that is just so disappointing.
Yes, they were just too high in the end of 9 and hitting a lot of walls out there.
Well, all the speed has been lost. If nothing else, that helps your lines down at the bottom part of the track.
Yes, they're still a really young double. Mistakes can happen. Oh.
And they continue to happen, and it'll be interesting to see this outrun where they put the pad tomorrow for the team relay, because that will make a difference. So while we watch this problem again here, Lisa, I do have a question for you. This is one of the few tracks with 3 different start areas. Should they or could they move the double start higher, and it would make the exit of 9 a little more benign?
It could make 9 easier, but it would make 11, 12 very difficult for the doubles, because it's a very fast combination of curves, and I think it would be too dangerous for doubles going there if the ice is really fast. I know our doubles went from lady start when there was slow ice and it was no problem, but they said if the ice would be really fast, it would be really difficult for them sliding from the lady start.
Great point. Italy now the second of 3 teams from Team Italia. Oberstolz and Kofler. Alexandra Oberstolz, just 17 years old, competed last week in singles. Also, both her mother and father are Olympic lugers.
And she did a good job out of 9 and really trying to put her head back, having a good position on the sled. Having a really nice run here.
In the green from top to bottom. And what's interesting is only a 1/10 of a second separates this young Italian doubles team from the final one coming up in a little bit, Falkensteiner and Huber. So it's possible that these two 17-year-olds could qualify for the relay tomorrow.
I don't know how the decision is made in the Italian team, but it definitely is possible. They did a really good job here, having 2 pretty good runs, and I think in their age it's a lot to accomplish, so good job. And she's really happy about it as well.
Diana Altenberger, Magdalena Machina, as you see on Lena's helmet, the back of the helmet. They've really struggled to find consistency this year. Diana Altenberger, a 10-time winner on the World Cup in singles, and along with Saskia Schirmer, also had a doubles World Cup victory. But this new partnership this season, their best result so far, a 6th place in Innsbruck.
Yes, they had some problems on the start in the first run, which I think looks better this time. Yes, they were a bit faster at the start. Oh. And they made it out of 9, just not hitting the wall right there.
That's an experienced correction by Diana.
And now she's gaining some time on the Italians.
They only had 300s on Italy after run number 1. Now, as you see in the lower part of your screen, 1600s. And this could open up to a 1/4 of a second down here at the bottom. Beautiful lines for Germany, 3500s up.
Yes, I think Diana really wanted to show that they can be fast here if they can put up down a clean run, and they just showed off.
I'm not sure if you have the split times from run 1 in front of you, Lisa, but when you look at them, Altenberger and Lena, they could move up into the top 5 pretty easily, depending on what happens with the next few sleds. Great correction there.
Yes, it's very possible for them to do it because they just had a really fast time.
8,5. Das wäre im ersten Lauf Rang 4 sogar gewesen.
Always nice to end the weekend on a high note. 2 USA sleds in this week's competition, including the new entry of Maya Chan and Sophia Gordon. They raced just once. Right before the holiday break, they had a 9th place finish in Oberhof. I presume we'll see them the rest of the way out through the World Championships and the races in Asia. Was that Summer Britcher yelling up at the top?
Either Summer or Ashley, I'm not so sure right now. But it's great they're cheering on them. They were really high in the end of 9, but just corrected it just fine.
Momentarily fell into the red, now back into the green. Now in the red. This is a fun run here.
Yes, they're doing a good job. They're having a solid line, maybe a little too late into 14 here.
This will likely be a 2nd place run down here at the bottom, and it is 1/4 of a second behind Germany. So Diana and Lena move up 1 spot for the time being. Chan and Gordon, both from the Midwestern U.S., they are back a spot. The worst they can do is equal the 9th place finish that they had in Oberhof, and they could still move up a few positions.
Yeah, they did a really good job for this. Is it their 2nd World Cup, I think? And especially because Diana and Magdalena can be really fast in the track if they put down 2 clean runs. So I think it's a great result for these two.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure Sophia Gordon, one of 2 Sophia doubles athletes for the United States, she has not had a lot of time here in Altenberg. Team Italy, they did not race at the World Championships last year. Falkensteiner and Huber, still both young, 22 years old, 20 years old from Bruneck in South Tyrol. Good start time, 5th best, but in the green right now over the Germans.
Oh, and the same problem as Andrea and Marian had right there.
What is it about that straightaway that prevents you from correcting more quickly than the 4 hits?
I think once you hit the wall a bit harder, you're kind of losing control. It's even though you don't have a lot of speed there, but if you can't control the first bump into the wall, it's you kind of lost the game there, I think. And it's just so difficult to get a good 9 from double start here in Altenberg.
That is evidenced in just about every other sled we've seen here. And another look. And what is the speed at this point? Not too high, right?
No, I think it's still really slow because it's really flat until exit of 9. That's where you usually start gaining speed out of 9. And that's what makes it so difficult to get the height in a good position in 9 to really get out in a good position. And if you have it too early, or if you just low the whole curve, you get so much pressure in the end of the curve that you're just gonna hit the wall. You can't fight it.
Elisa Starch and Pauline Potts, 6th place. After the first run, here's the second and final run now, women's doubles from Altenberg. I'm Tim Singer, along with World Luge champion Lisa Schulte. And the Germans pulling up the handles. Pretty good paddle and settle, but lurking is corner 9, just seconds away.
And they have advantage of just over a 1/10 of a second, so we will see if they can make it to Diana and Magdalena, or if they will lose some time here in the track. It's a really solid run so far right now, but they already lost a bit of their time.
Right, and this is where Diana was really fast down at the bottom.
Yes.
And the result is Fortune Top to move into the red.
Yep.
Should still be a top 2.
Yes, it's gonna be the 2nd place for them in the finish, and a little dance from Diana and Magdalena.
I believe it was Alina and Natalie and someone else last year at the World Championship Sprint event when they kept riding the elevator, and by the end of the race, they had a leader box dance down.
Oh, yes, it was in our women's single race last year in the World Cup, because it was raining so much, and it was, I think, Julia, Elena, and me in the leaders box for quite a while.
Okay.
And we just started dancing at some point.
Right, it's as if when each sled was starting, the 3 of you got together and said, all right, what will the dance be this time?
Yes, exactly.
2 from Latvia in the top 5. That's not uncommon. The Latvians have been very consistent this year in women's doubles. Marta Robenica, Kitya Bogdanova. Bogdanova still holds the start record of 5.910 from the World Cup last February. Let's see what this start time is. Second fastest at 5.95.
Yes, it was really high at the end of 9, but they just managed to get out there clean.
They were only 1800ths up on Germany.
Having quite
you
a
were saying?
But they just built their advantage, which is great. It's a very good run.
Well out into the green. This will be another top 5 for this still very young Latvian doubles team. They hit hard at the finish, but that's after they crossed the green line.
Yes, and it was a really fast time as well. That would have been the second place in the first run. And she's really stoked about it.
This is a great team.
Yes, they are already so good, and they're still young, which is great. It was maybe a bit too early on the start curve, but the rest of the run was really, really good. And also her position on the sled is great.
Fantastic. 2 podiums this year already for this team. And somewhat lost in all of the talk about how fast the Austrian sleds are, and they are this year. But quietly, the Latvian sleds have been sort of staying in the Austrian shadow, but being very fast equipment for Latvia the last several seasons.
Yes, that's true. Especially in doubles, they've been really strong over the past years, the Latvians.
Anda and Zana, now the second in a row from Latvia. They had a great World Championship week here in Altenberg last year with a second place finish, followed up by another podium in the World Cup. Now they'll try to jump onto the podium, their 4th place after run number 1.
So they just build up their advantage by a few hundredths of a second. Doing a good job out of Kreisel here. Her position is not as confident as from Robensnice Bogdanova, but still a very good run. But they're losing quite some time here.
Lost exactly half of their lead and now into the red, and they will likely fall behind their teammates. They do, but they lost a lot of time down at the bottom. Maybe I jinxed these Latvian fast equipment sleds.
Yes, I just think that that Marta and Kitja were maybe a bit more self-confident with the precision on the sled and just letting the sled go, especially in the bottom part of the track, because the lines were equally good from both sleds.
Well, that slower time has given a little bit more breathing room for the final 3 sleds, the 3 teams that have been the best in the world all season long. The Germans, first to go now of the last 3, have about a quarter of a second lead over the Latvians down at the bottom. Jessie Degenhardt, Cheyenne Rosenthal, 2-time world champions. Jessie grew up not far from the Altenberg track. She still lives in nearby Dresden when she isn't training in the summer in Bavaria. They were also standout World Cup, or at least Junior World Cup senior athletes. Cheyenne won at least 1 World Cup medal on the senior tour, and Jessie, I believe, a Junior World Championship.
Yes, they were both
singles.
Great single sliders, and now being a great team in doubles. I think there was a little skid in the beginning, and it was an okay exit of 9, very far on the right side, which is okay. It was better than her first run.
And they do have a lot of time to play with. They are maintaining that quarter of a second lead over Latvia, looking to put the pressure on the Americans coming up next.
They're having a clean run in the lower part of the track, which is great, and I think they haven't lost any of their time, so... Oh, maybe a little bit down the finish, but...
They did lose a little. Latvia still on the outside looking in second place, but Germany guarantees themselves a podium. They finished second in 3 races this year. Jessie and Cheyenne still looking for their first victory.
Yes, and Jessie seemed really relieved in the finish right now that she made it out of 9 2 times. Even it was really close right here, not hitting the wall, but she kept really cool, kept her position great.
They will head to Winterberg with their 4th podium of the season, and Winterberg is Cheyenne Rosenthal's home track next weekend. But we still have more racing. The final 2 sleds, Siobhan Forgan, Sophie Kirkby of the USA. They're looking for their 3rd podium of the season. They've been in, or 4th rather, they've been in the top 5 in every race. They're 2nd in the World Cup standings, and they have a pretty healthy advantage over actually only about a 1/10 of a second, 100th of a second over the Germans down below.
I think think it's gonna be an exciting race. It was pretty much the same to what Jesse and Cheyenne did in the run before them out of exit 9. So I think it's gonna be a close race between them. It's just 300.
It will take a big mistake. Right, it will take a big mistake for them to fall off the podium. This has been a sled that has been very fast at the bottom of the track all season long, 900s.
Yes, I think they're gonna end up in the 3rd place, which is another podium for them, which, yes, it's gonna be 2nd place for them at the finish.
Right, that guarantees a podium.
Yes.
They could end up in 3rd place at the end of the day, but they are on the podium for the 4th time in 5 races.
That's great. They've been really consistent this season so far and doing a great job. They were really high in the end of 9 and corrected it just fine there.
The World Cup points are so tight between 2nd and 3rd that officially now Germany, Degenhardt and Rosenthal have passed the USA, Forgan and Kirkby, not just in this race, but they'll move into 2nd in the World Cup. The USA will be in 3rd. And that's very could end up at the end of this run because one sled remains, Team Austria. Every World Cup leader so far this year in the sport is from a team outside of Germany, Austria or Latvia. That is a surprising development. This is the first of 3 races in a row right now in Germany. Will Austria continue its domination on this track?
Yes, and it was a great exit of 9 again from Selena and Lara. Not as perfect as in the first run, but still a very good exit. Now maybe a little too early out of Kreisel, but still very good.
And a huge advantage of nearly 3/10 of a second. Barring a crash, Austria will win for the 4th weekend in a row. Lisa, will it be the fastest time of the heat?
Yes, it will.
It is.
Very good job.
Not only have Selena Egla and Laura Kipp won 4 races in a row, in those 8 heats, they've won 7 of the 8. That is how dominating these World Cup leaders have been this year. And at 21 and 22 years old, they're still one of the younger teams in World Cup Luge.
They are, but they're doing a great job. They've been sliding together for years now, which makes them a very, I would say, experienced team already, and they're just doing a great job. And the coaches are happy as well.
We have a Linger in the house this week.
Yes, he's joined us for this World Cup as a coach.
A 2-time Olympic champion, the Linger brothers for Team Austria, as they have had a doubles tradition for years and years in the sport of luge, and that tradition as Egla and Kipp win for the 4th time this season. They do it going away by nearly 4/10 of a second over the big 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 have been the teams that are most consistent all year long. A good second run for Eidberger and Machina, and as you see, disappointment for Team Vetter and Oberhofer as they still look to get on track here, the defending World Cup champions for Italy. Will we see Oberstolz and Kofler in the relay tomorrow? That will be an interesting thing to look out for. That relay is tomorrow late afternoon. We've still got a lot of business today with men's singles and the men's doubles competition, but they'll pass out the flowers here. And Lisa, you know Laura pretty well. As they make their way towards the World Championships, will they feel pressure to be the team to beat, or will they enjoy that position?
I think they've been on the podium or on top of the podium for quite some while now, so I don't think they feel too much pressure. A little pressure is never bad for a really for a good performance, but I think they will do fine. Whistler is still a new track they've been there, but it's likely new to them, and I think it's gonna be an exciting world championship this year for the doubles race.
Gold, silver, and bronze about to be presented to the athletes here. We'll also hope to hear from some of them. Lisa, thanks so much for doing some of our race-ending interviews in English this year. I know that's tough for some of the athletes. It's not a problem for you.
No, it's sometimes it's a bit difficult to get my emotions under control and speaking English right after the race, but I don't mind talking in English, so it's fine. And also,
nice to see Einers.
If it's for the FIL Luge that everybody can understand it, I think it's great to talk in English.
No, you do a great job. Einers has been at most of the races. It's great to see the International Luge Federation president show up at most of the events. So Egla and Kip, Degenhardt, Rosenthal, Forgan, and Kirkby, that's the 1, 2, 3 in the race. That's the 1, 2, 3 in the World Cup standings. And Sophie leading the troop in a little bit of a cheer as they ham it up for the cameras. Hopefully we'll get some interviews here. And Lisa, I'm going to let you go as we wish you the best of luck tomorrow. Thanks so much for your commentary today. Great job.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
And let's go down to the interviews.
Congratulations to being on the podium again. You had a slight mistake here. Very challenging track though. How do you feel?
We're glad, we're happy to be on the podium. We definitely had some mistakes in the second run, so we'll just be looking to clean that up for tomorrow.
Thank you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very consistent showing all season long for the United States. In fact, for all three of these teams, Germany in second and the Austrians with the victory. We'll look to make our way down as the other athletes will head on over for a quick word on how their race went today. Men's singles will be next up. The first time this season, I believe, that the men will have their singles race on day one.
Guys, congratulations. You seem unstoppable right now. You were flying down this track, even though it is one of the most challenging in the season. How do you feel about your performance today?
Yeah, it's crazy to have 4 victories in a row. It's feeling incredible. We have such a great speed. Yeah, we are feeling amazing right now.
It is one of the most challenging tracks. Was it challenging for you? And if yes, what was the most challenging part for you?
I think the most challenging part is curve 9. But last year we had a lot of runs for the World Championships, and then we couldn't figure it out, and now we have no problem anymore, so that's why we're so fast.
Thank you guys, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Victory for Austria, and for the 5th time, or the 4th time in 5 races this year, the Germans finished second.
This is your home track, one of the most challenging tracks in this season. You had a slight mistake down about your performance today.
I think we can be quite happy about the performance today after last year's World Championship here. We had some small problems in the first heat out of 9, but we made it out safely, and the second one was better, so I think we can go home more confident after the team rally tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you guys, congratulations.
And home for Jesse is not far from here in Altenberg. And don't you go far, because we'll be right back in just a few moments. We've got the men's singles competition coming up 5:15 Eastern time, 11:15 local time is when we rejoin the action. So great job by Lisa Schulte and our entire FIL television crew. Until we meet again, I'm Tim Singer saying so long from Altenberg, Germany, and thanks for joining us.